Hello friends, this is Professor A.S. Mochi, Department of Agricultural Entomology, KKwa College of Agriculture, Nasik. Today we are going to learn about the pest management in cotton crops. Here you can see these are the different major and minor pests which infest the cotton crop and cause the yield severely. In that, the pest is categorized into different feeding habits or according to their feeding habits. If you see in the first, there is a one category that is a sucking pest. Sucking pest means are those pests which have a piercing and sucking type of mouth parts, and they just suck the cell sap from the different succulent plant parts of cotton, and they cause a symptoms on that particular infested plant parts. Another one is stem borers. That pest is attacked on the stem and feeding inside the stem. And some of the subterranean pests. That pest it is attacked from the soils on the roots of the cotton crop. And in next category is boll feeders. Boll feeders means are those pests which attack on the bolls of the cotton and cause a severe loss in a kapas. Then next one is a flower feeders. This pest is attacks on the flower parts or flowering parts. Then some of the defoliators. Defoliator means these voraciously attack on the leaves of the cotton crop and defoliate the plants. And next and last category is non-insect pests. Non-insect pests means are those pests which is not categorized into the insects because they have a different class. Okay, and let us see one by one. This is the first paste of the cotton, that is the sucking paste. Name is leafhopper, also called as Jacids. Amerisca bigotula scientific name. It is a hemipterum paste. Hence, they have a incomplete metamorphosis. Hence, there are three different life stages: egg, nymphs, and adult. Here, the female insect of the leafhopper it lay their eggs inside the leaf tissue singly, and after the hatching from the eggs the young ones is emerge out. The name of the young ones is nymph. The nymph is yellow in color, and if you see in adult are greenish in color, and we can say that the wedge shape, and at the walking time they walk diagonally, and there is a two black spot on the forewings of the adult. This is the mark of identification of the nymphs and adult of the leafhopper. Then if you see the nature of damage of this pest is that the justice or the leaf hopper have a two different damaging stages, nymphs and adult. Both nymphs and adult are congregate or occupy under the surface of the leaves and suck the cells up from that loose or tender plant parts. As a result of feeding, they produce a number of symptoms on the infested leaves. The major symptom is that the hopper burn symptoms. It is the one of the characteristic symptoms produced by the Jacids. During feeding, they inject their toxic saliva into the host tissue, and it gives a characteristic symptoms. If you see in this picture, this symptom is called as a hopper burn symptoms. What is that? The leaves get bronze or brick red in color, and the margin of the leaves get broken and crumple into the pieces when crushed. That symptoms called as a hopper burn symptom. This is the nature of damage of the Jacids. This is the nymphs and adult which is present under the surface of the leaves and suck the cell sap. This is the hopper burn symptoms, which shows the yellowing of the margin of the leaves followed by crinkling and curling of the leaves, further leading to bronzing and hopper burn symptoms. Then if you go for the management practices of the Jacid, before that we should know about the ETL level of that particular pest. ETL level means the economic threshold level. Here, the economic threshold level of the Jacid is 2 leaf hoppers per leaf. And when the pest is crosses the ETL level, then we can go for the management practices. Here, there are the two different practices. First one is preventive and second one is curative. In preventive practices, seed treatment with imidacloprid. It is a systemic insecticide and seed can be treated before sowing with the help of this imidacloprid at the rate of 10 gram per kg of seeds, or also we can use a thiamethoxam at the rate of 5 gram per kg of seeds. It is effective against the all the near about sucking pest. In that curative measures, we can spraying with a botanical insecticides name is NSK, neem seed kernel extract 5%, and also we can spray with the neem based product like azadirachtin at the rate of 2 ml per liter. But we can monitor this pest with the help of yellow sticky trap. We can use a yellow sticky trap for the to attract the adults of the leaf hoppers. And then if you go for the chemical control, these are the some of the recommended insecticides in cotton crop, which is recommended by the CIB and RC, Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee. This insecticide like a flunicamide, then dinotefuran, then fipronil, and the buprofezin. This chemical we can use by alternate way with a recommended dose. Okay, this is the leaf hopper. Then next pest is thrips. This is the Thizonopteran pest. Here it is also the sucking pest, but the difference between the other sucking pest and the thrips is that the mouthparts of the thrips are the rasping and sucking types, and other sucking pest have a piercing and sucking type of mouthparts. The main actual difference between the piercing and sucking and rasping and sucking is that here in case of Thrips tabeki, it is the scientific name. Here the right mandible is absent. So here with the help of left mandible, they scrape the epidermal layers of the leaves and suck the oozing cell sap. This is the difference between the other sucking pest and thrips. Okay, in left side picture, this is the nymphs, and in right side picture, this is the adult. It is one of the, we can say that the very minute insect. It is present just under the surface of the cotton leaves and scrape the epidermal layers of the leaves and suck the oozing cell sap. And this is the symptoms which is produced by the or due to the feeding of the thrips. Here if you see the nature of damage, here the damaging stages are both nymphs and adult. Both nymphs and adult just scrape the epidermal layers of the leaves and suck the oozing cell sap, which produces symptoms like that: severing of the leaves due to the scraping of the epidermis and de-sapping. Then also attack on the terminal buds and have rag edges. Then it produces one characteristic symptom. That symptom is called as a silvery shine on the under the surface of the leaves. This is the characteristic symptom produced by the thrips. In this picture we can see egg, nymphs and adult of the thrips. Both nymphs and adult just lacerate and suck the oozing sap from the lower surface of the cotton leaves and produce a shiny appearance or silvery streaks. This is a silvery lines or shiny appearance along the veins at the just under surface of the leaves, and this is the characteristic symptoms produced by the thrips feeding. Then if you go for the chemical management practices for thrips, we should know about the ETL level of the thrips. Here the ETL level of the thrips is 10 thrips per leaf. And then for monitoring purpose or for to attract the adults, we can use a yellow sticky trap at the rate of 20 per acres. Then also before sowing, we should go for the seed treatment with the help of imidacloprid and thiamethoxam at the rate of 10 gram and 5 gram respectively per kg of seeds. And then if you go for curative measures, we can use or spray the crop with neem based product like azadirachtin or neem seed kernel extract at the rate of 5%. And then these are the different recommended chemical for thrips like a spinosad, dinotefuran, spinetoram, fipronil and clothianidin. These are the recommended chemicals against the thrips in a cotton crop. We can spray with the help of these chemicals by alternate way with a recommended dose. Then next is white fly. Bemisia tabeki is the scientific name. It is also the sucking pest. Here in picture you can see the egg, larva, pupa and adult. Here pupa is not there because it is a sucking pest, but there is one pupal stage. Pupal structure is there. That pupal structure is called as pseudopupa. Then this is sucking pest. Hence the damaging stages are both nymphs and adult. And when these nymphs and adult it sucks the cells up from the lower surface of the leaves. They produces some of the symptoms on the cotton leaves, such as curling of leaves, then reduce the plant figure, then sooty mold growing on the honeydews. It means that while feeding both nymphs and adult of the white fly, it excretes a honeydew-like substance or sugary material that develop the black sooty fungus on the plant parts. And this black sooty fungus, the name of this species is Captoderm species. This is black in color. Due to this, it spread all over the infested plant parts, and the infested plant parts or the leaves become the blackish in appearance, and it directly affect on the photosynthetic rate of the cotton, and indirectly the yield is reduced. Instead of feeding, this white fly is also act as a vector for transmission of a cotton leaf curl virus, CLCV virus, in a cotton. This is the adult which is congregated on the under the lower surface of the leaves, and just suck the cells up from the leaves. Here, both nymphs and adult suck the cells up from the leaves, resulting in appearance of chlorotic spots on the leaves. Later, these chlorotic spots join together to form a irregular yellow patch if infestation is severe. Premature dropping of the leaves, shading of the flowers and squares occurs, and even bad ball opening is also noticed. This is the symptom produced by the or due to the feeding of the nymphs and adult of white fly in case of severe infestation. Then the ETL level of the white fly is 5 white fly per leaf. Then we can go for management practices. We can use a yellow sticky trap at the rate of 20 per acre to attract the adult of the white fly. Then the most important practice is do not use a synthetic pyrethroids or pyrethroids, because due to the continuous use of the synthetic pyrethroids chemicals, the emergence of the sucking pests increases day by day. So to avoid the use of pyrethroids. Then in case of curative measures, we can spray the crop with ANSK, neem seed kernel extracts, or neem based product like a azadirachtin. Then these are the some of the recommended chemicals against the white flies: buprofezin, dinotefuran, and thiamethoxam at the rate of with an recommended dose. Next one is aphids. Apis gossypi is the species. Here in first picture, this is a neem of aphid, yellow in color, and in second picture, this is the adult aphid. The adult having a wings, and the nymphs do not have a wings. This is the major difference between the nymphs and adult. If you see in case of nymph, there is a two black structure which is arises at the abdominal sides of the aphids. This two black like structure is called as cornicles, and this cornicles is nothing but the defensive organ in case of a aphids. Here the aphids, it is reproduced by means of parthenogenetically. It means that the female aphid, it directly gives birth to the young one instead of egg laying. Then both nymphs and adult, it is congregated on the lower surface of the leaves and different plant parts, and they start their feeding by the sucking the cell sap. Here both the nymphs and adults suck the cell sap from the tender leaves, twigs, and or the tender plant parts, which results into the plant reduce their vitality or turgidity. Then in case of aphids, this paste is also excrete a honeydew-like substance or sugary material. That sugary material develop black sooty fungus on the plant parts, and the plant parts become blackish in appearance, and it directly affect on the photosynthetic rate, and the yield is indirectly reduced. This is the direct damage and indirect damage produced by the aphids. Direct damage, it means that it reduces the turgidity or vitality of the plants, and that infested plant parts become dry, or curling is occurs. Curling is downward in condition. Then indirect damage is that they develop a black sooty fungus and directly affect on the photosynthetic rate. The black coating on the bolls and the lint thickness of the lint, that is the characteristic symptom produced by the aphids. This is the nymphs and adult which are congregated on the lower surface of the leaves or plant parts, and they suck the cell sap. This is the curling occurs by or due to the feeding of these aphids. Then if you see the ET level of the aphid is 10 aphids per leaf. Then in case of management practices, in case of preventive measures, seed treatment with imidacloprid and thiamethoxam, it is effective. Then for the to attract the adult, we can also use a yellow sticky trap. And then foliar spraying with a botanical insecticide like a NSK and azadirachtin. Then these are the different recommended chemicals: flunicabine, dinotefuran, and thiamethoxam to control the aphids in a cotton. Next sucking pest is mealybug, Phenacoccus solanopsis. This mealybug, it is a in case of here plant infestation only, females are noticed to uh, feed in that different plant parts or on that different plant parts. Here this is the life cycle of the mealybugs: egg, crawlers, and the adults have a male and female. Here crawlers, it nothing but the nymphs of the mealybug. Then how the mealybug is feeding in cotton crop. This mealybug, or the nymph of the mealybug and nymphs and adults of the mealybug, it is congregated on the all the succulent plant parts of the cotton, and they suck the cells up from that succulent plant parts and produce a different symptoms like a here you can see the black sutimal fungus, which is nothing but the excretion of the we can say that the sugary material or honeydew like substance that develop the black sutimal fungus, and the plant become a blackish in appearance. Then the plant retarded their growth and late opening of the bolls and drying of the plant. It is the symptoms produced due to the feeding of the here mealybug. This is the mealybug, which is congregate on the tender shoots, then tender bolls or birds, like that. Here, if you see, the affected leaves become the crinkled, twisted, and bushy appearance. Affected plant exhibit the distorted and the bushy shoots. And the plant gets reduced and dries up eventually because they suck the cells up continuously from that succulent plant parts. Hence, the plant dries up eventually. Then, in case of management practices, the first practice is that of preventive measures. In that, removal of weeds and alternative hosts, because here the weeds which is present on the field burns, it act as a alternate host for the mealybugs. Then conserve the parasitoids. The name is Anaceous species. The Anaceous species, and also we can use a Cryptolemus montezeri. Cryptolemus montezeri, it means that it is the Australian ladybird beetle. This Australian ladybird beetle, it is effective against the all the mealybug species. In case of curative control, Lecanicilium lecanii, it is one of the entomopathogenic fungus or biopesticides. It is mostly used to control the mealybug or all the species of the mealybug. Then in case of chemical control, buprofezin and propanophos are the recommended chemical in a cotton for the mealybug. Then these are all the different sucking pests: aphid, jacid, thrips, whitefly, mealybug. And then now the next category of the cotton pest is that bollworm complex or boll feeders. Here these are the three bollworm: American bollworm, then pink bollworm, and here spotted and spiding bollworm. The first one is American bollworm, Helicoverpa parmigiana scientific name, and these all three bollworm are lepidopteran pests. Hence they have a four different life stages: egg, larva, pupa, adult. After the male-female mating of the adults, the female moth is lay their eggs on the tender plant parts by in a singly. Then after the hatching from the eggs, the larval stages emerge out, and in case of Helicoverpa parmigiana, they show a color variation in a different instar or different larval instar. Then pupation, it is occurs in a soil. These are the different color variation from greenish to brown present in case of Helicoverpa parmigiana. And then now the how this pest is feeding in a cotton field. The name is cotton bollworm or the American bollworm. This pest is mostly attack on the bolls, but before the boll formation, this pest is also attack on the different plant parts like a leaves, tender shoots, and flowers, and also the birds. Here the larva or the caterpillar, it is the damaging stage. After the hatching from the eggs, at initially the larva it attack on the tender leaves and start their feeding from margin up to the midrib, and defoliate the plants or plants show the skeletonized symptoms. Then the pest is attack on the tender shoots. The shoots become wither and dry up. Then this pest is also attack on the flowers and tender buds. It result into the defoliation of the flowers or flower drop down on the ground. Then after the ball formation, it attack on the bolls. When this pest or when this caterpillar is attack or feeding in inside the bolls, one of characteristics we can say that the habit is that the anterior portion of the body of the caterpillar, it is remain inside the bowl, and the posterior portion of their body remain outside the bowl. This is the characteristic feeding habit in bowl in case of helicorpa. These are the different symptoms which is produced by the feeding of the caterpillar of Helicorpa armigera. Here if you see the bowl showing a regular and circular bore holes, then the presence of the granular fecal fillets outside the bore hole, and the single larva can damage the 30 to 40 bolls. Next one is spotted bolome and spiny bolome. Spotted bolome is Aedes vitella, and spiny bolome it is a Aedes insulina. In a spotted bollworm, it means that these are the different caterpillar, life stages of this spiny and spotted bollworm. After the male-female mating, the female moth lay their eggs on the tender loose floral buds, bract and bole. Then after the hatching from the eggs, the larvae emerge out. If you see, the name is spotted and spiny bollworm. Why is called as spotted bollworm? Because in case of Aedes vitella, the larva stage have a different number of black spots on their body, hence known as spotted bollworm. In case of Aedes insulina, on the Aedes insulina, the larval stage of the Aedes insulina, they have a number of spines or thorny or hair-like structure on their body, hence name is a spiny bollworm. The pupation of this pest is in the soil or on the plant in square or bracts in the silken cocoons. Then how this pest is damaged? Here the caterpillar is damaging stage. At initial condition, the caterpillar is attack on the tender shoots. It attack on the tender shoots and feeding in inner content of the tender shoots. As a result of feeding, the shoots become wither and dry, and the produce a one characteristic symptom, that is the drying and drooping of tender shoots. In first picture you can see the drying and drooping of the tender shoots. Then after the flower formation, it attack on the flowers and defoliate the flower or flower drop down on the ground. Thereafter, bole formation in attack on the bolls. Shading of the squares and the young bolls is also occurs. Then flaring up of bracts during the squares and young bole formation stage. Holes on the bolls and rotten of the bolls. Then when the bolls, after the bole formation, when the larvae enter into the bolls, they feeding inner content of the bolls like on capas or in seeds. As a result of feeding, that infested bolls produce a inferior quality lint or that capas, and this pest is also attack on the seeds, hence seeds lose their viability or germination percentage. It means that the seeds also lose their oil content. The next one is pink bollworm. Pectinophora gossypella is the scientific name. Then if you see the life cycle of the pink bollworm, is that they have a 4 different life stages: egg, larva, pupa and adult. The egg laying of this pest, if you see here, the larva, the color of the larva is, the first 2 instar are the white in color, and the while after the 3rd instar it become a pink in color, hence the known as a pink bollworm. Then if you see the life cycle here, the egg laying takes place under the surface of the leaves and floral buds and the bracts and the balls. Then the larvae pupated by the spinning cocoons on the bracts or in fallen leaves or flowers or even in soil. This is the life cycle. Then here, these are the different symptoms produced due to the feeding of the caterpillar of the pink bollworm. This pink bollworm, unlike the spotted bollworm, it do not attack on the shoots. This larvae of the pink bollworm, it directly attack on the flowers and floral buds. The larvae feed by making the circular holes on the young bolls, and they produce a exit holes on the surface of the bolls, and as a result of feeding, it produce a bad ball opening. Here, this larva is also attack on the flower and the defoliation of the flower drop down on the ground. It also attack on the seeds inside the bolls. As a result of feeding, in case of severe infestation, The cut windows holes or interlocular burrowing in adjoining the seeds, thereby the forming the double seed formation. And this is the characteristic symptom, double seed formation of the cotton seed in cotton. Then this also attack on the flowers on tender buds, and the flower shows a rosette appearance or rosette flowering. Rosette flowering and double seed formation are the two important major characteristic symptoms produced by the feeding of larva or the caterpillar of the pink bolome in case of cotton. This is a rosette flowers and this is a half open balls. Due to the continuous feeding inside the balls produce a inferior quality lint and the seeds also lose their oil content. Then, if you go for the management practices for the pink bolome, uh, for monitoring purpose, you can use a sex pheromone trap. Sex pheromone trap in case of Helicoverpa parmigiana, we can use a sex pheromone trap with helilure. In case of spotted and spiny bolome, we can use a eerie lure, and in case of pink bolome, we can use a here pectino lure for a monitoring purpose. Also you can use a light one light trap per hectare for the monitoring purpose. Then in case of preventive control, here the field sanitation is most important. In case of field sanitation, we can use a removal and destruction of affected plant parts or plant debris after the harvesting of the previous crop, and then a removal the destruction of alternate host which is present on the field burns. Then clean the field, then burning of the old plant debris like that. And then most important is summer deep plowing. And then in case of curative control, we can use a different chemicals or recommended chemicals for the control of the pink bolome or three bolomes. Propanophos, imamectin, benzoate, thiodicarb, and deltamethrin. It is mostly used. Then next is tobacco caterpillar, also called as tobacco caterpillar. The scientific name is Spodoptera litura. It is also the one of the polyphagous pest. Here, if you see the life cycle of the tobacco liberating caterpillar or Spodoptera litura, the egg laying of this Spodoptera litura it is takes place on the surface of the leaves in a masses or in a clusters. Then here the pupation is takes place in a soil, and there are the near about 5 different larval instars. It is present or it is found in case of here tobacco liberating caterpillar. Then how this paste is damaged in actual field condition or in case of cotton. After the hatching from the eggs, after the hatching from the eggs, the early instar larva, like first and second instar larva, it is feed on the cotton leaves or on the surface of the cotton leaves, but in a group. Then in a later instar larva, like from a third instar up to the 15th star, they scatter all over the field and feed on the leaves, and it is a continuously or voraciously feeding on the leaves. And in case of severe infestation as a result of feeding, the leaves become skeletonized or the plant becomes skeletonized. Then these are the different symptoms which is produced due to the feeding of the different instar larva of the Spodoptera litura. The first three features, above three features, shows the this is the feeding of the early instar larva. They just scrap the epidermal layers of the leaves, and the leaves become leaves. We can say that the shiny in appearance or skeletonized in appearance. And this below two picture are the showing due to the feeding of the late instar larva. This is the feeding from margin up to the midrib. It is a caterpillar feeding. This is the skeletonization. For the control of this pest or for the monitoring purpose, we can use a pheromone trap with a spodolure. And then in case of curative measures, collection and destruction of affected plant parts along with larvae. And then these are the different recommended insecticide for the control of the tobacco liberating caterpillar: Novaluron, imamectin benzoate, and Lambda cyhalothrin. And the next one is a red cotton bug. And this red cotton bug, the scientific name is Discus singulatus. It is also the sucking pest. Here, sucking pest, it means that they have a incomplete metamorphosis. So the egg, nymphs, and adult are the three different life stages. After the male-female mating, the female red cotton bugs lay their eggs in a soil near the plants. Then after the hatching from the eggs, Here the nymphs and both the adults, here nymphs and adult both suck the cells up from the tender plant parts and also suck the cells up from the tender bolls or that bolls. What happen as a result of feeding due to, in case of severe infestation, when these nymphs and adults suck the cells up from the bolls, they produce a low germination and the less oil content because they also suck the cells up from the seeds. Then a red stain, lint and rotting of the bolls is also occurs. And during feeding, this pest introduce the one bacterium. The name is Nematospora gossypi inside the bolls, and this bacterium is responsible for the staining or the staining of the lint. Hence, this pest is also called as cotton stainer. Then next pest is dusky cotton bug, Oxycaranus halipenis. The egg laying of this pest is, it is also the sucking pest. The egg laying of the pest is the cigar shaped whitish eggs are laid in a cluster in the lint of half open bolls. It means that when the bolls is open prematurely or half open bolls, or the bolls which is already damaged by the other boll feeders insect, in that bolls the egg laying is produced or eggs are laid by the female dusky cotton bug. Then after that, both nymphs and adults are the damaging stages. The both nymphs and adults suck the cells up from the that half open bolls or already damaged bolls, and also they suck the cells up from the that seeds which is present in that bolls. As a result of feeding, in case of severe infestation, what happens? The seeds lose their viability or lose their germination percentage, and also lower the oil contents. Then due to the feeding on the lint, the infested bolls produce a inferior quality lint. Next one is mirid bug. These are the three different bugs: red cotton bugs, dusky cotton bug, and mirid bugs. And the mirid bug, it is a new emerging pest in a cotton. Here is also the sucking pest, egg, nymphs, and adult. Hence, this also attack on the this also feeding on the tender plant parts and they suck the cells up. Here, both nymphs and adults suck the cells up from the flower buds, squids, and small developing bolls. As a result of feeding, in case of severe infestation, the flower drop down on the ground and reduce their, we can say that the pollination is also. Then when this pest is attack the suck the cells up from the developing bolls or the bolls open prematurely and produce a inferior quality lint. This is the symptoms produced by the feeding of the this mirid bug. The abnormal flower opening is occurs and is also attack on the anthers, hence affect on the pollinations. And this is the characteristic symptoms produced by the mirid bug. That is the oozing out of yellow fluid from the infested bolls. This is the characteristic symptoms. And in case of severe infestation, the flower shedding is also occurs. These are the different symptoms which is produced by the feeding of the mirid bug. Feeding punctures on the bolls, immature boll damage, deformed bolls, and the parrot beaking symptoms. Because why is called as parrot beaking symptom? Due to the suck this cell sap by the nymphs and adult of the mirid bug from the developing bolls. The bolls look like a beak of parrot, hence known as a parrot beaking symptoms. And then next one is a cotton lip roller, Silepta derogata. The name itself indicates that cotton lip roller. They roll the leaves. It is a lepidopteran pest. They laid their eggs on the surface of the tender leaves, and the pupation is takes place within the lip rolls. What happens after the hatching from the eggs? The larva here, it damaging larva. It is the damaging stage, or caterpillar. It is damaging stage. The larva or the caterpillar here roll the cotton leaves and feeding in a concealed condition, and it just scrap the epidermal layers of the leaves and or the feeding from margin up to the midrib, and the pupation is also takes place inside the leaf fold. These are the different pests which infest the cotton crop. Then now how we can manage this different pest in case of cotton by a integrated way. It means that the integrated pest management practices in case of cotton. In that, these are the different economic threshold level of the all the pests. We should know about all the ETL level of the all the pest in case of cotton. When the pest is crosses the ETL level, then we can go for the integrated pest management practices. In that integrated pest management practices, there are the four different practices we can use. In that, the first one is cultural, then mechanical, biological, and chemical. In cultural practices, the first one is summer deep plowing. What happened due to the summer deep plowing? The soil layer is alter, and due to the heavy sun rays, which are the different hibernating stages present in the that soil, it is exposed to the environment of sunlight, and they may be killed due to the heavy sun rays, or it can be picked up by the birds and eat them. And then field sanitation is most important practices. Then early and timely sowing is also the recommended practice for the IPM, or for the different pest in cotton. Then these are the different resistant varieties. You can use a different resistant variety against the different pest in case of integrated pest management. Then collection and shaded squares and bolts from the cotton peel, because in that shaded squares and bolts there are different life stages or hibernation stages is there. Then crop rotation is one of the most important practice. The crop rotation with non-host crop. In that, the Helicoverpa armigera and Aries vitella, we can rotate the crop with green gram, black gram, soybean, castor, and sorghum. For whitefly, we can rotate the crop with sorghum, ragi, and maize. Then also the removal and destruction of alternate hosts, because alternate hosts or different weeds, it act as an alternate host for the different pests. These are the different recommended, alternate hosts we can remove from the field burns. Then border cropping. Here the pigeon pea, bajra, and maize, it is used as a border crop for the mealybugs. Then judicious application of recommended dose of fertilizer. What happened? Due to the continuous use of the urea or the nitrogen fertilizers, it increases the chances to it increases to chance the emergence of the sucking pest. Then intercropping. The intercropping with cowpea and soybean, it is also effective against the leafhopper. Then trap cropping. Here for the Helicoverpa armigera, marigold, okra, castor, pigeon pea, jawar, maize, and Cyanabinus is the are the different trap crop used against the Helicoverpa armigera. Then for the myriad bug, the lucerne is used as a trap crop. Then you can use the different traps. The first one is a yellow sticky trap or blue sticky trap. This yellow sticky trap or blue sticky trap, it is mostly against the all the sucking pests like aphid, jacid, thrips, white fly, and all the plant bugs also. Then light trap per hectare is also effective against the different pests. Then pheromone trap. Here the pheromone trap is mostly used against the boll feeder insect and the Spodoptera. And these are the different mechanical practices. In that, the hand picking and destruction of the various insects life stages. Then clipping of the terminal shoots. Then wash the equipment with water jar before the use, because with the help what happen here, if you do not wash the equipment before use, it is a chance to increase or the spread of mealybug in the cotton field. Then in case of biological control, for the sucking pest, you can use the different predators like a Chrysopherla carnea, ladybird beetle, or Australian ladybird beetle, or Anaceous species are the different predators against the sucking pest. And different parasitoids like Apentalis, Bracon, Trichogramma, these are the different parasitoids, egg or larval parasitoids, it is effective against the all the Lepidopteran pest. And then we can use a different biopesticides such as Verticillium lecheni, Beauveria bassiana. These are the different biopesticides we can use against the here the Verticillium lecheni and the Beauveria bassiana. It is an entomopathogenic fungus. Effective Verticillium lecheni effective against the sucking pest, and Beauveria bassiana effective against all the larval stages. Then we can also use a BT, Bacillus thuringiensis. It is one of the bacterial insecticide or insect bacteria effective against the Lepidopteran larvae. And then in case of viral biopesticides, SLNPV and HANPV. SLNPV effective against the Spodoptera litura, and HANPV it is effective against the Helicoverpa armigera. Then bird poachers is also used. They are the different birds like a black drango, king crow, orange myna, blue jay. It is also helps to check the population of the larval stages in the cotton infested fields. Then this is augmentation practices. With the help of this, we can release the different predators and parasitoids in the infested fields. Like suppose Chrysopherla carnea, it is effective against the sucking pest. Trichogramma chilensis is effective against the boll feeder insects. Cryptolaemus mentans, that is effective against the mealybugs, and the HNP, SNP, all the viral biopesticides effective against the Spodopterygium and Helicoverpa armigera. These are the different predators or bugs, predator bugs they can use against the different sucking pest. This is the Incarcia species. Incarcia species, it is the mostly or effective nymphal parasitoids against the whitefly. This is the Anastasia species, effective parasitoids against the mealybug. This is the parasitoids against the flower mage. And then in case of botanical control or botanical insecticide, we can use a NSK, 5% NSK, neem seed kernel extract. Then also use a neem oil, also use a neem based product like azadirachtin, like that. Then for the chemical control, we can use a different recommended chemical. This is the different enlisted chemical, recommended enlisted chemical we can use against the particular pest. These are the different chemicals or list of the chemicals that is effective against the different pest in a cotton crop. This is effective against the all the Lepidopteran larvae. Thank you.